Ever had one of those amazing summer days where the weather is great and you think, this is a great day to go outside and photograph wildlife? So you grab your camera, you head outside, but when you take a look at your images, you think, why are my photos blurry? You checked your shutter speed, your autofocus seemed fine. Everything seemed like it should have been a sharp photo. But on warm summer days, sometimes your camera settings are not the problem at all. It might just be heat haze. Heat haze is basically a turbulence in the air caused by temperature differences. In photography, it often appears as a soft, wavy detail in the distance. The frustrating part though, you can have perfect focus, a great lens, and ideal camera settings, and still end up with a soft photo. So here are some ways to reduce heat haze on warm summer days. Tip number 1, reduce distance. This is usually the biggest factor. Heat haze gets worse with distance. Every extra meter of hot air between you and your subject can reduce image quality. And that's also why longer focal lengths seem to make the problem even worse. It's not like 600 or 800 millimeter itself will create heat haze, but with bigger lenses, you're usually photographing something that is further away, which means you're shooting through more amounts of hot air. So whenever possible, try to get closer. That could mean using a hide, approaching carefully, waiting near known animal paths, or simply being patient. And if getting closer isn't possible, avoid trying to make up for distance with heavy cropping, because cropping usually makes existing heat haze even more noticeable. I photographed this pheasant from quite a distance away. I couldn't get any closer because of a fence, and the heat haze is clearly visible. This reed bunting, however, was sitting in a field directly behind me at that time. The distance here was only a few meters, and the image is a lot sharper. Tip number 2, avoid hot surfaces. Hot surfaces are heat haze generators. Sun-heated rocks, roads, sand, or even shallow water, all of them warm up the air above them and create distortion. And don't forget hot surfaces close to your camera, like a car hood or a car roof. If, for example, you're trying to stabilize your camera while leaning on your car, you will probably feel the heat radiating from it. You may also notice that wildlife on the ground is usually more affected than birds in flight, for example. That's because most of the turbulence forms close to the heated ground. Higher up, the air is usually more stable, so birds in flight may be less affected. But it can still be there. The next examples were taken on a pretty hot afternoon with temperatures around 31 degrees. First, we have this gray heron on the ground. The image quality is terrible because of the heat haze. Just a few minutes later, however, I photographed this kestrel, much farther away, high up in the sky. And even though it was much farther away, the heat haze was not quite as bad. So to minimize the effect, change your angle, gain a little elevation, or simply get away from the hot ground so you're shooting through cooler air. Tip number 3, be mindful of your surroundings. Sometimes the location itself matters. If you're shooting across a sunlit open field, you'll probably experience more heat haze than near a tree line or even in the forest. This marsh harrier was flying low to the ground and directly above a sunlit field. The heat haze is obvious. I took this photo from the edge of a forest, And as the marsh harrier came closer, it also moved away from the heated field and flew along the tree line of the forest. The image became a lot sharper. And as a bonus, your body will probably appreciate not spending hours in direct sunlight. And if you do, please take care of yourself. Stay hydrated and protect your skin. Tip number 4, shoot early. Or more specifically, avoid photographing during the hottest part of the day. Early morning is usually the best time. The ground hasn't heated up much yet, so there's less turbulence in the air. Late evenings can work too, although usually the ground still holds a little bit of heat from the day. A couple of weeks ago I observed this hare, and even though it was only around 9 AM, the ground had already warmed up enough to create heat haze. Later that same day, however, I returned to the location in the evening, and the heat haze wasn't nearly as bad. Tip number 5. Faster shutter speed helps, but only a little. There is a common misconception that faster shutter speeds will fix heat haze. Unfortunately, that's not really true, because heat haze is not motion blur. It's optical distortion happening in the air itself. A faster shutter speed can still help reduce blur from handheld movement or moving animals, but it can't magically make heat haze disappear. And tip number 6, use burst mode. The turbulence in the air changes constantly. So by shooting several frames in burst mode, some images may turn out slightly sharper than others. And later at home, you can simply pick the clearest one. If you're already seeing heat haze happening around you in the distance, changing your camera settings usually won't save your shots. Changing your position or waiting for better conditions usually helps much more. So the best advice is simple. Get closer, shoot earlier, and avoid photographing over hot surfaces. And the next time you head outside on a beautiful summer day and wonder, why are my photos not sharp? It might not be your camera at all. It might just be heat haze. I hope these tips help you get more keepers and a few sharper wildlife shots out in the field. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!